AskReddit by Chris 13032. What video games show that graphics truly aren't everything? RimWorld, endless possibilities for your floating head and torso colonies. And even losing is fun. I have fond memories of an early colony where everyone got wrecked by a herd of angry elk after a hunting trip went horribly wrong, and all slowly bled to painful death while the elk made angry sounds at them. One guy even managed to get back up, giving me hope, but promptly collapsed before he could bandage anyone. My next colony was strictly vegetarian. Dwarf Fortress and Netherc are the classics. Crusader Kings 2 is just a map of Europe. Pretty much everything Seth Sench the Youtuber reviewer like, Underrail and Neo Scavenger come to mind, are slightly more modern examples. Deleted. Heroes of Might and Damp, Magic II and Master of Orion 2. Both very dated graphics but stand the test of time. Still very playable today, and best of all, they can run on almost any PC. Also add Civ series to the list. Edit, I advise you all to check out our Heroes 3 for more HOM 3 discussions. Had to scroll way too far to find HOM 3. To anyone checking it out, make sure to get the GOG version instead of the Steam ripoff version. Barber Is You. Game looks like literal Microsoft Paint but is honestly one of the best puzzle games I've ever played. It makes my tiny dumb brain hurt. NetHack focusing on gameplay instead of graphics. It spawned the dev team thinks of everything. https://www.youtube.com/watch?JUTYJLGLJ8 closed bracket catchphrase in its fanbase. Deleted. Age of Empires. Wololo. Star Wars Battlefront II, 2005 classic. Watch those wrist rockets. Oregon Trail comes to mind. That said, I would love a high-res open world survival version where you trekked across a huge procedurally generated landscape with only your wagon of supplies and your wits to see you through to the end. Thomas Was Alone. I was really hooked from the very beginning. I have never before had such strong feelings for geometric shapes. One of my all-time favorite games. Roller Coaster Tycoon. I want to go on something more exciting than merry-go-round 1. Tetris. I think this is the text of this question, and the eternal counter to the better graphics OMS race. Factorio. Finally at 1.0, only 7 years in beta, granted, I loved every minute, well over 500 hours I think. Edit, just checked, 628.6 hours. I know it will probably go up but I'm on a Terraria kick right now, over 700 hours there. Dwarf Fortress. Because what it has can be barely called graphics. People really don't get what an impressive thing Dwarf Fortress is. It's a game that's been almost constantly in development since 2002, 18 years of development. It's a man's literal life work put onto the internet for all to enjoy. Which is crazy to me. It's like Sistine Chapel that you can beam into your living room. Mount and Amp, Blade, Warband is one that comes to mind for me. High graphics or low graphics, Jeremus is the same friend to us. To the Moon. Such an incredible game. The only thing lacking in this game is the graphics and the gameplay itself. It's more of a visual novel. The story is fantastic and this is the only game I have ever bought. If there is anyone out there that hasn't played this and have a few hours to spare, please give this a shot. I could never recommend this game enough to do it justice. Baldur's Gate 1 and Amp 2. There's a reason both of them consistently show up near the tops of best RPGs ever lists. The writing, characters, sense of exploration, scale and player agency is fantastically done. Super hexagon. Papers, Please. Papers, Please wouldn't be half the game it is if it didn't look as good and captivating as it does. The graphics make the game. One could argue that statement fits to most Lucas Pope's games. On that note, Return of the Obra Dinn is a masterpiece and I recommend checking it out. Oblivion. Hardly anyone talks about the graphics because we're too busy laughing at the NPC dialogue. Stop right there, criminal scum. Faith. It showed that a horror game can still be terrifying even in 8-bit. Edit. Well damn, 9k upvotes. What I'm about to do has not been approved by the Vatican. Pure goosebumps. The first Pokémon Mystery Dungeons, the 2 is my favorite, and the old Pokémon's games. The Mystery Dungeon DS games made me cry at the end. RimWorld. Edit, join us at our RimWorld. Amazing game. I always have to be sure I have literally nothing else going on in my day before I fire it up, because before I know it it's 3 AM and I'm playing for just one more day once again. Dungeons and Dragons. Hey. What are you trying to say about the 5 minutes I spent making a battle map before my last session? Zork. The best graphics are in your head. I still remember playing Zork when I was a kid. Back when anything electronic seemed like magic. Trying to guess what to do next really opened up my imagination. Hotline Miami, most violent and brutal video game I've ever played, all displayed through pixelated gore and bloodshed. Pokémon Mystery Dungeon. Despite the graphics there are some damn beautiful and heart-wrenching scenes. Undertale 2. I remember playing Pokémon Blue Rescue Team and being surprised when the town executed Order 66 on my team. Team Fortress 2. That game is over 10 years old probably and still has a dedicated community, including me. To be fair, the cartoony visuals help it age pretty well. The Sims 2. Haven't seen anybody say it here, but that game slaps. I just mentioned it, but Sims 2, it's my favorite Sims game. Sims 3 was good too but had some problems, and Sims 4 Simmers look too cartoonish for my taste. Old School RuneScape. Sea Shanty 2 intensifies. Terraria. I could never get into Minecraft, but for some reason the first time I played Terraria, I was 100% hooked even though it looked like it belonged on a system multiple gens ago. Never really understood why, since I thought I wasn't the type to play those build everything games, but hey, I love Terraria. The Simpsons, Hit and Run. I actually replayed it recently because I never finished it as a kid. Besides some rendering issues when you go from one location to another really fast, it hasn't aged terribly emo. It's just one of those fun games you boot up to mess around in and kick people and steal ice cream trucks in. You're not looking for a masterpiece, it's just chaos. The early Final Fantasy games. The storyline and music made those games, the graphics really didn't matter. The original Final Fantasy's town music is still one of my favorites. I hum it when I am trying to calm down and relax. Final Fantasy Tactics. Such an amazing, beautiful game. The graphics are meh. See, I never got into the original one, because I've never owned a PlayStation, but I loved Advance and A2. Tactics Advance is one of my top 5 games of all time. It's so good. Stardew Valley. After I saw the first version of the graphics for Stardew Valley, my opinion on the graphics changed from Honeyt to HFS. This game looks amazing. Fallout New Vegas looks really dated by today's standards, but the game is just as fun as it's ever been. Even when it came out, it was a bit ugly. Best game ever. Undertale. I have the art book for that game, And there's an interesting section about how the main character's design intentionally looks bad to lower your expectations for the rest of the game. Galaga. Call me old-fashioned, but I still like it. Look me in the eye and tell me you don't grin like a comic book villain when you get that double ship. That man is playing Galaga. He thought we wouldn't notice, but we did. Minecraft. Not a fan myself, but if anything does it that one. Edit. I've never played it myself and generally referring to the vanilla copy. A lot of you saying it's good with mods and such, but that's also not base copy. Yes. Best selling video game of all time with over 200 copies sold proves that. Contra. Pokémon Original on Game Boy, GTA Vice City, Mafia 1, NFSU 2, Driver. Many old titles that are still awesome to play. Vice City has the best atmosphere. I never got to finish it, but fucking around was too much fun. Papers, Please. Great game, very little graphics. Glory to Ostotska. Civi. Tetris. Tony Hawk, Pro Skater for the PlayStation 1. OHH boy, do I have good news for you. Binding of Isaac. Not only is it fun, but it has so much replayability. A Dark Room. Hotline Miami. So much action and violence into some pixels. Sonic the Hedgehog, classic. An icon that still is launched nowadays. Half-Life 2 is still better than most single-player games that come out today. But Hectoliters 2's graphics were quite good for 2004. FTL, Faster Than Light, Darkest Dungeon, Terraria, Cardinal Quest 2, mobile game, Rhymed Racer, Bomber Crew. Wow, people need to play more indie games. Edit. I just looked at my stream library and have so many more to add. Unturned, Dungeon of the Endless, The Binding of Isaac, Crypt of the Necrodancer, Realm of the Mad God, Spelunky, Castle Crashers. Got FTL this summer. I had one health bar left on the third phase of the enemy flagship today. I made it to the flagship my third playthrough, got halfway through its second phase the fifth time, and I was really hoping to wrap things up this time. Assuming the unexpected third phase is the last one. But I totally believe there are 6 phases at this point. I'm running an i7 3rd gen with 32 gigs of RAM and a GeForce 1070, so I can play some solid stuff graphically. But it's been my jam much of the summer when I've had time to play such a great game. Football Manager. The graphics are so bad I still use classic 2D in 2020. Boohoo 3D for the win. If my guys are doing 360 turns just to touch the ball, then I'm not buying it. This new game for Switch, A Short Hike. Looks like it could have come out on N64, but is so charming and cute it's hard not to love it. OG Super Mario. Diablo 2. Diablo 2's graphics were really cool, come on. It gave it a mood that I have rarely seen in other games. I still remember these tortured bodies at the end of Act I, and the cinematics were just mind-blowing, at least at that time.